All right, so I'm just going to go through a little bit of information about the quadratic relation in factored form. So this is our general factored form up here. Y equals a times x minus r in brackets times x minus s in brackets. And what we can figure out from our factored form, really quickly, we can figure out our x-intercepts. Our x-intercepts are going to be r and s. So r and s. And then if we want to find our y-intercept, what we're going to do is we're going to take a and multiply it by r and multiply that by s. And that's going to give us our y-intercept. Now, we can also find the coordinates of the vertex, and that's because at any point where y is equal, so the 2 points that are on the parabola at the same y value, they're equidistant from the axis of symmetry. And the axis of symmetry cuts our parabola right down the middle. I'll show you with an example. But our axis of symmetry is also the x coordinate for our vertex. So if I want to find my vertex and I'm in factored form, all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my two x-intercepts, r plus s, and divide by 2. And that is going to give me the x coordinate point of the vertex. Then to find y, all I'm going to do is I'm going to sub in whatever I got here for my x coordinate point of the vertex in for x in our equation in factored form. Then I'm just going to solve for y. That'll give me the coordinate points for my vertex. I'll show you with an example in a second. So sub in the x coordinate point into the equation, solve for y. All right, so let's use an example. Y equals 2, x plus 2, x minus 6. So we can see we're in factored form here. The first thing that we'll notice is what our x-intercepts are. Now, be careful. Our x-intercepts are actually the numbers here, but with opposite signs. And the reason being, our general form of the equation is x minus r, x minus s. So we want r and s. We want the flipped sign version of that. So, for example, r, which looks like positive 2 here, is actually going to be negative 2, and s is going to be positive 6. So just switch the signs, and those are your coordinates. The other way to think of it is, what number would I put in for x that would make this all equal 0? So negative 2 plus 2 would go to 0. 6 minus 6 would go to 0. So we've got our x-intercepts, and we can actually write them when we write them as coordinate points. Our x-intercepts occur where the parabola crosses the x-axis, and at that point, y is always 0. So just keep that in mind. So our two coordinate points here for our x intercepts is going to be minus 2, 0, and 6, 0. So that's our x intercepts. Now our y intercepts, if we remember, were a times r times s. Well, here 2 is a, r is, remember, minus 2, and s is positive 6. So 2 times minus 2, here actually, let me just write it down here. 2 times minus 2 times 6. And so when we do that, 2 times minus 2 is minus 4, times 6 is going to give us minus 24. So that means that our coordinate point is at, 0, comma, negative 24. So that's our y-intercept. Finally, we're going to find our vertex. To find a vertex, we're just going to take r and s. Remember, r is minus 2, S is positive 6. So let's just do this in proper form here. So R plus S minus 2 plus 6, and that's going to be divided by 2. So if I want to just consolidate that, minus 2 plus 6 is going to be 4 over 2. 4 divided by 2 is going to be 2. So our x coordinate point for the vertex is 2. Now we're just going to sub that into our original equation. Our original equation was y equals 2 x plus 2 x minus 6. I'm just going to bring that down here. There it is. There's our original equation. We're going to sub in 2 for x and then solve for y. Y equals 2. Now instead of x, I'm going to have 2. 2 plus 2. That's a lot of 2's. 2 minus 6. All right, and now we can just solve this using the distributive law. First off, we're going to do what's in our brackets. Remember our order of operations. Brackets come first. So we've got 2 times 2 plus 2 is 4, and 2 minus 6 is minus 4. So now we're just going to solve for y. Y equals 2 times 4 is going to be 8. 8 times negative 4 is going to be negative 32. So now we can say our vertex, the vertex is at coordinate point, well, our x coordinate point was 2, our y was negative 32. So that's where our vertex should be, at 2 and negative 32. And all the other information that we've got, we know that our x-intercepts are going to be, whoops, I went too far. Our x-intercepts are going to be at negative 2, 0, and 6, 0. We also know our y-intercept is going to be at 0, minus 24. And we can confirm this using Desmos. So x plus 2, x minus 6. Yes, that's what I thought. So if I wanted to do this, I can just take a look here at this one. Sorry, just changing one thing. I'll do that in a second. Here we go. We put in our equation y equals 2 times x plus 2, x minus 6. Well, if you recall, it said our x intercepts were at minus 2 and positive 6, and we can see minus 2, 0, and 6, 0. And it said our y-intercept was going to be at 0, minus 24. So if we keep scrolling down here, oh, look, 0, minus 24. That's where our parabola crosses the y-intercept, or y-axis. And then finally, if we come down here, it says, hey, our vertex was 2 and negative 32. If we want to double check, oh yeah, vertex to negative 32. So we found all of this information from that equation, and we just verified it here. The other thing which you'll use is, whoops. Oh yeah, I know why. Give me one sec here. I'm going to put in the axis of symmetry. I'm going to go, let's see. I just have to change this up because of where everything is. 35 to And once again, our axis of symmetry, that's going to be our x coordinate point for our vertex. So you see the x coordinate point is 2. And this blue line here is called our axis of symmetry. We would just write it as x equals 2. And it just divides the parabola in half. It splits it right into half vertically. So the left and the right side are mirror images of each other. Anyways, there's a little bit of information, and we verified it using Desmos, so feel free to do that. And now, with all that information that we have, we could even graph our parabola if we are given an equation. We can find our x intercepts, we can find our vertex and our y intercept, and with those points, we're able to graph our parabola. I hope that helps. If you have any more questions, let me know, and I'll get back to you. Take care.